Hi, this is Kat with Beadaholique, and in this video I'm going to show you how to make the Night Circus earrings featuring Cymbal earring posts for GemDuo beads. So you can see I have one completed example here, and this uses that beautiful earring post, and I've just created a nice little diamond design. I went with the style of the GemDuos there. So I have two colors here. I have the black and the white, and those are both in the silver splash. You can choose whichever earring back you like. For these, I chose just these little silver bullet clutches. But the only tools that we're going to need to complete this is we're going to need two size 12 beading needles. Onto it I have about 3 feet of a crystal FireLine in the 4-pound strung, so we're going to be using a double needle method, so you only need one strand of thread. And then the only other tools is you're going to need a thread zap or a pair of scissors. So if you have that ready to go, let's go ahead and get started. So we have our 2 needles here, and we are going to be doing a sort of crisscross system. So what I'm going to do first is take my little earring post here, and I'm going to flip it onto the back. That way it can sort of stay down there and you can see what I'm doing as I go back and forth. Now, the GemDuos actually do have a front and a back. The front side is a little bit beveled on the top, and the back side is going to be a little more flat. So what we're going to start with is we are going to start with nestling one of our little GemDuos right up in the center there. And again, make sure that the back side is facing you if you're doing it where you flipped it over here. Just make sure you keep track of your front and your back. It's not quite like Super Duo, so you just want to be mindful of that. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to take one needle and we're going to go through, and there's a little hole on the side of the earring post, and I'm just going to send that all the way through. And the reason I've nestled that GemDuo up there is it's just a little easier to catch than trying to sort of weave your needle back through. But we want to come out all the way to the other side, and we're going to pick up a third GemDuo. Now I'm starting with a row of 3 black. And go ahead and pull that through. And what I want to do is I want to center all of this into my thread here. So you can't see my needles there off camera there, but I just want to center that right into there. Perfect. All right, now taking the needle that is in your right hand, and here, let me flip this over here so you can kind of follow along this way. Sometimes it's easier to see. There we go. And now what I'm going to do is just turn that around, and I can go ahead and pull that through, sort of keeping everything in place as much as possible. I'm going to string on one of the white GemDuos, and I'm going to go through the bottom hole of that middle top GemDuo. Just sort of bring that together. And this is where, you know, especially in this setup phase, you want to just go slow, make sure everything is nice and centered. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to pick up another GemDuo, again, making sure that flat side is facing me. And I'm going to go through, oops, sorry. I'm actually just gonna string this one down, because what I'm going to try to do here is avoid any extraneous thread bridges. So now I'm just coming out that white bead right there, so we're not actually going through that last GemDuo. Because we're going to take the needle that's in our left hand and we're going to string it through, and we're going to go back through, and here's where we're going to pick up that GemDuo bead there, that white one. Now, if it works out and you're really good, you can get all the way through in one go. If you can't, don't worry about it. Just go through one bead at a time. All right, so now just going to pull that, and that's going to crisscross there. Now, don't do what I just did. Go back through that black bead there. Make sure you're coming out those 2 white beads. There we go. So we don't want to go all the way through. And again, this is just an attempt to avoid as many extra thread bridges as possible. Okay. So I hope that's clear. So we went through the top and we connected our first GemDuos. We went around the sides, and then we went through that bottom. We added our 2 white beads there, and we are coming out those white beads. So we're not going through those 2 end black beads there. Okay, so now take that needle and we're just going to turn it around. And I'm right-handed, so I typically always use my right needle first. If you're left-handed and you want to do that and it feels better, go for it. All right, now we're going to pick up one of the black GemDuos and go through one white GemDuo there. And now we are going to pick up one more of the black GemDuos there and just kind of let that hang out to the side. All right, so now go ahead and take your left-hand needle, and we're going to repeat that, and we're going to go through. Now I'm not picking up that first black one there. You can see that. I'm going through all three, coming out to the side here. And before I finish this row, I'm going to pick up one more black GemDuo that's just going to kind of sit out to the side. So that makes sense. So I have two sort of hanging GemDuos out to the side. All right, now we can sort of tighten that up as we take our right needle, and we're going to sort of add on another row just in the same manner. So we're going to go through that black one coming out. I'm going to pick up a white bead, go through the black one, pick up another white, keep pulling, there we go, make sure everybody's nice and happy. And now we can go through this black bead here on the outside, so that's sort of starting to connect with everyone there. And we're going to add one more of our white beads on the outside here. And that one is going to be our new one that's just going to kind of hang out there. Okay, so let's turn our thread around now on this one. Make sure this is, there you go. And turn it around, go through just the black bead, the white bead, the black bead there, the white bead, and come out that black bead. Give it a nice little tug. There we go, tighten everybody up. And we're going to add one more of our little white beads to the outside. Okay, so you kind of see what's happening here? Okay, so this row of 4 is as wide as it's going to be. So now we're going to sort of reverse that style and start to taper it down. So go ahead and take the needle in your right hand, and we're going to turn around that white thread, or excuse me, through that white bead. And now we're going to pick up a black bead, go through the white. And I like to kind of go slow just to make sure everyone's facing the right way. You can see I've got all of my flat sides on this side, which is exactly what we want. If you are working on the back side of your earring, if you've decided to flip it over, and you know, you can always pick this up and hold it in your hand if that's a little more comfortable for you, but I'm just trying to kind of keep it down on the table. I figured it might be a little easier to see. All right, and then one more black bead. But we are not going to go through that white bead. So that's going to be our one that's just going to kind of hang there. All right, and taking our left-hand needle, we're going to send it all the way through there. The only thing we're not going to go through is that last final white bead. So go through that black bead and come out the side. Okay, perfect. There we go. Looking good. Okay, so now go ahead and turn that needle around, go through that black bead. And this helps to just avoid those, you know, extra thread bridges. I know sometimes that bothers people. They don't want to add on, you know, extra little seed beads to cover it up. So you can, you know, use this style if you choose. All right, so I picked up one, went through the center, picked up another, and this is going to be my one that's just going to sort of hang there. Again, taking the left-hand needle there. Let's make sure everybody's where they need to be. There we go. Turn around on that black bead and go through. But don't go through that last black bead. Come out that white bead at the top. All right, and to add on our final bead, we're going to go through that white bead one more time. Pick up our little black bead, our final bead. You can just leave that, and we're going to turn it around. So taking the left-hand needle, go through, our little black bead there. And that's it. You are all finished. Now, to tie it off, you do have a couple of different options here. You can go through and create an extra thread bridge on these white beads, which is why I did the pattern the way I did and using crystal the way I am. Because if you wanted to have these be your darker beads, I would recommend you could always do the smoke FireLine so you would see it a little bit less. But with the silver splash on these beads, you're not really seeing it all that much anyway. So what I'm going to do is, just to show you how to tie it off, I'm going to go through, and I'm going to go through this white bead right here. I'm going to sneak my needle down through, and now that I've tightened everything, it is very tight in there, so just sort of sneak it through if you can. Pull back, and then take your needle and kind of catch that little thread bridge underneath there, create a little loop, go through that loop, and tie a little knot. Now, if this was a bracelet, I would probably tie a couple of knots and go through a couple more beads if I could, but with it being an earring, there's not going to be a whole lot of stress on it. So I have that side there. Also, I'm technically doing 2 knots anyway because I have the thread happening here. So I'm going to just sort of repeat that on this side and come through. So I'm just sort of finishing the crisscross there, going through the back, coming up through this last little part here. Should have zapped off that first side of the thread first. All right, coming through and catching that little thread bridge. And this is just a really simple sort of quick little knot that, you know, you might be familiar with from sewing or other projects that we've done here. All right, and just sort of, I always like to send it through one more bead just to make sure everybody is nice and ready to go. I'm going to take my thread zap for today. So just go ahead and press that and it will start to heat up. And when it's ready, you just come in and you just zap off your little threads there. Okay, that's 1. And sorry, my hands are in the way, but 2. All right, and we are done. Make sure you put your guard right back onto your thread zap. Don't want to lose that. So that is how easy it is to make the Night Circus earrings, and these are featuring those beautiful Cymbal earring posts. So you can get all of these by heading over to Beadaholique.com, and if you're new to our YouTube channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button below to get all the latest from Beadaholique.